Deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on.
I mean, as Ian Wright just said there, people, Deluded, I'm back again. Special guest settings. He's part of the furniture on the platform. Make sure you're subscribing to his channel before we carry on. The link is in the description. One of the most hardworking individuals on YouTube. Dan, how you doing, my guy? Back again.
Back again, bro. A big up for the intro as well. Much appreciated. Always a fan coming on here because I think you and I see eye to eye on most things Arsenal.
Amen.
And when we don't, it's kind of a good chat anyway because it makes us see differently, man. So thanks for having me back on, bro.
Minor, man. We're going to get onto the striker thing because I thought I was passionate about Arsenal's need for a striker, whoever that is. We're probably broken records at this point, but it's nice to actually hear somebody else here. But the first thing I want to kick off, obviously, you went to the game. I watched it online and whatnot. What did you make of the game against Leverkusen yesterday? If you can draw any conclusions from that, man.
Yeah, I think this was a really good performance from Arsenal, particularly in the first half. I thought we were knocking on the door, and then pretty much breezing the park for the first half hour, bruv. I can't lie. I thought it was really, really good from Arsenal. I thought we were all over them. I don't think they had much, really. There was domination from as far as Arsenal were concerned.
Facts.
Really impressed with a couple of individuals in the first half who I thought definitely deserved the mention. And I felt like there was actually some rhythm with Arsenal. We looked sharper. We looked fitter than them. We looked like we were definitely more prepared than them. And to be fair, DG, we should be because we've had rest. We've had some games. They've got, what, 1 or 2 games they played already? That's it.
Yeah.
So to be fair, we should have. And rightly so, we were the better side. And I was quite impressed by what I saw, bro. I've got to say, I mean, the individual performances from Odegaard, Jesus and Trossard were especially something that we need to mention because I was really impressed, man.
I think you're bang on the money, man. I was just about to ask you on individuals, man. I want to start with Zinchenko because obviously we can't draw conclusions, but, you know, Calafiori, for whatever reason, is yet to be involved. Timber, it seems like we're guiding him into sustained kind of football. Tomiyasu, as we know, is injured. It's probably likely, unless Calafiori gets minutes on Sunday and things change, that Zinchenko's going to start the season against Wolves. What did you think of his performance? Do you think he can prove people wrong? And do you think, like, he can actually have a say this season for us?
So I don't think he's got anything to prove going forward because we all know what he can do, right? We saw it again yesterday. It was an unbelievable strike. I thought it was a great goal, and I thought he actually played really well. But offensively, really impressed. Defensively, luckily, he didn't have much to do yesterday, and that's
Thank
always
the Lord.
because, yeah, when he does have stuff to do defensively, he ain't very good at it, right? So I look at him now, and I feel like he could be a player that could offensively give us something in our midfield, maybe as a number 8 or at last resort left back against teams that perhaps we don't have the Salahs that are up against him.
Like
Maybe
yesterday.
he can do a job there. Like yesterday. Maybe he can do a job there, right? But looks like he's staying, got a brand new number on his back, number 17. KDB's number. Maybe that's what it is. He might turn him into
Cedric's old number. Hopefully not.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is it going to be a KDB or a Cedric? Or is he going to play
like old Alexis Sanchez, man?
Exactly. So I like what he does on the ball. I never have liked him defensively. But he played well yesterday and deserved plaudits. I thought the goal was really good, DG. I really did.
Yeah, it was a sweet strike from him, and I like on top of the goal, like the build-up play. Like you was at the game, so you had probably the best view. I like the way we had that build-up play, and it's like what you said with Zini. I don't think anyone has any questions about him to a degree in the middle and final third. It's defensively, and although I just said I don't think he had much to do yesterday, I kind of think he did. Like he weren't troubled, but it's that thing that me and you have been saying in the last couple of shows. In that, on top of Zinchenko's issues defensively, people just fancy it against him. Like not to say Benjamin White and all our other players, people can't take them on and get some change out of them, but they don't look at it. It's like a school bully. It's like you see a little nerd, they've got money. That's how Zinchenko is looked at. And fortunately for us, it didn't come to anything. But we're at where we're at, man. I want to ask you about Kai Havertz in midfield because I think yesterday it worked. I do think it can work in certain situations, especially where you're betting on Odegaard to probably kind of be that link and allow Havertz to run forward. But what did you make of him in midfield? Are you convinced by it? Do you think it could be an internal solution, as Wenger would normally say when he was in?
See, I really hope not, bro. I know he was okay yesterday. I really hope not, man. I see him as a number 9. I think he's best in that position. Just because I've seen him play okay in a couple of friendlies now doesn't mean that I believe he's a midfielder. If we do play him, I hope it's in the 10, as in the Odegaard position. If Odegaard was out or a knock or fitness, I don't really want to see him in this attacking 8. Now, the only reason that he played well, I thought, yesterday was because Gabriel Jesus was sharp and on fire, and the link-up play between both of them seemed to be a little bit of an understanding, bro, a little bit of a telepathy between the pair of them, and I thought that was quite interesting to see. I hope Mikel Arteta, however, doesn't now believe that that's the answer, and then Jesus is our 9 and Havertz is our 8. That's what I hope he doesn't mean. Now, there's no saying that that is the case, and there's also no saying that we won't go and add players in these two areas, because I believe we need both areas covered, right? Kai Havertz is one of those players that will put himself about, but unfortunately, Kai Havertz is not great on the eye at times. So when he is standing around like people think a little bit of an oaf, actually what he's doing, you will see, is actually does work quite hard. He does track back. There was a couple of times where he got some interceptions in, and I don't mind him. I'm just not a lover of the player. And I suppose people might think that I've got an agenda. I don't. I want Havertz to score 30 goals next season, right?
You've been quite kind to him. So if someone says you got an agenda, they're bugging out.
I believe so. And I thought that it was a strange signing. I raised my eyebrows when we signed him for 65. I think everybody had the right to do that as well, bro. And then when we were playing him in midfield, I was like, why is he still playing there? Like, surely we can see this isn't working. And then we moved him to the 9, and the back end of last season, he was absolutely firing. I was like, do you know what? Fair play. Like, finally found a position for him. For me, personally, it's still more of an Olivier Giroud type, fling him on with 25 minutes to go, try and change the game up type of player. And I want a striker to come in. But that's where I think his position was in. Arteta may see things differently. But yesterday, he got on the score sheet. He got an assist, I think, as well. Might have even got a couple of assists as it goes.
Yeah, I think he got 2 yesterday, technically.
Yeah. I thought it was a fair game from him. But I thought it was a good game. I wasn't excited by it, you know. And a lot of people I see giving him man of the match awards. I thought there was better players on the pitch than Kai Havertz personally yesterday. But listen, if he's scoring and assisting, that's what he's been brought in to do, man.
Who would you give man of the match to? Just as you said that.
So I give man of the match yesterday to Leandro Trossard. I looked at him and I thought he was different level to everybody else. I thought he was on a different planet yesterday. I looked at his performance, particularly in the first half, and he was head and shoulders above everybody, man. Every single time down that left-hand side, he was looking like he's making something happen. The only negative about his game is he can't take a corner. That is still the case. Like, he cannot take a corner, but I don't know why he's still on corners. But for me, I thought he was brilliant. That first goal, bruv, is so good, because he wins the ball. Yeah. He then, while it's passed, it comes to him, and he's got a defender on him. He's literally like next to him. They're brushing shoulders,
to the shot,
and the guy literally sent him packing. And I thought that is why people compare him to Santi Cazorla and Alexander Hleb in terms of his quick feet, because that right there shows you he has skill and technical ability that are off the charts, man. I think the player is ridiculously good, and I don't think people give Arteta, Edu, Arsenal as a whole enough credit about this signing, because we haven't won something with him. I think that they're potentially looking at this signing as a good signing. If we would have won the title for the last 2 years, I honestly believe he would have been one of our most important signings in Arteta's reign, because he came in January and definitely allowed us to get title challenge.
Bare assists as well that first year.
Unbelievable assists. And if you remember, he was playing in a number of positions, number 9 as well, false 9 as well. And last season, other than Saka, he got the most goals for Arsenal. So this is a player that,
and he was in and out of the side.
Facts. He had to win his place back from Martinelli, and he did that. And for me, I think sometimes people look at Trossard and they think, yeah, good signing, not really an Aubameyang or Arshavin January signing. No, he's better. He's better than both of them. And people might laugh and think that's mad to say that about Aubameyang, but let's be real. Trossard is massively important in a side that is going for the title. Aubameyang, won us a trophy, but he was really trying to get us back into Champions League, wasn't he? So for me, I look at what Trossard has done as a January signing, and I think he's one of the best January signings Arsenal have ever made. I really do. And I thought he was amazing last night, man. Amazing.
I think he had a quality game, and I think generally, not to dislodge Arsenal, but I don't think Bayern Leverkusen put up much of a challenge. Like, a couple of the goals, take nothing away from Arsenal, it was a bit soft. I think they really need to look at their goalkeeper, take nothing away from that. I agree with what you said on Trossard. He looked on fire. I think Zinchenko had a great game. I actually think Jorginho looked a bit off it, and I think Declan Rice looked a bit rusty. I think Saka was a bit so-so. I think Gabriel Jesus had a brilliant goal, and I know it's only pre-season, but for someone that doesn't know about goal scoring, anytime you can get a goal, it gives you a lot of confidence. I think you're bang on the money with Kai Havertz. Like, for me, it can work in certain games and we can get around it and stuff, provided the other moving pieces around him work. But it's not really what I want to see. I want to kind of see him play as a striker. And again, we'll get onto the striker debate. Who else did I think did well? I think Benjamin White, when called upon defensively, if not that he had much to do. I was a bit disappointed in Fabio Vieira. I know it's pre-season. I don't want to draw too many conclusions. People could sit there and say, including myself, that he's not in his best position. But I just feel it might as well be a Champions League final final that you're playing in when you're on the peripheral things. You need to go and do your thing. And I think you're bang on the money with Trossard. I want to stay on Trossard. Do you think he's first choice left winger now, or do you think Martinelli starts against Wolves?
I think the fans want Martinelli, but I think the manager will play Trossard. And let's be
Can't
real,
disagree.
he can't drop him really. He's been phenomenal since he's come into Arsenal. He's fought for his place. He's won it back. And I've got to say, I think he deserves to start there. Now, I will put in an advocate to this to say that actually, I think Martinelli will win his place back because I believe that the signings we bring in on that left-hand side will complement Martinelli more than Trossard. Trossard kind of probably is the better player, really, when you think of it, because he hasn't needed everything around him to be perfect, whereas Martinelli, we believe, does. But when you look at what Trossard can do on the ball with or without players around him, it's phenomenal. So it's going to be hard for Martinelli, but I do have faith in the player, and I do believe he'll have a good season as long as we sort our left-hand side out. For me, the other player I wanted to mention quickly was Gabi Jesus, because I thought he looked sharp, bruv.
Like 15 league goals. He needs to save my channel, man.
Bruv, I'm telling you now, I was so impressed by everything about him. I thought he looked so fit. Problem is, bruv, I've seen this before. And it's that knee that gets injured again, and we see him out for a few weeks. And this is the only last chance I'm giving him now. And I know that sounds harsh, but we're ruthless, right? We can't be having a player that one season might be okay, but probably is going to be injured for 5 of them. So we have to now believe that this is going to be the season that Jesus. This is a massive season for Jesus, in my opinion. And I thought his link-up play with Havertz was great. I thought his link-up play with everyone actually was really good. I thought there was a telepathy going. I also believe that when he's on the football, you just kind of feel like something's going to happen. Like
he's one of them. He provokes havoc. Yeah,
he is, man. He causes chaos, and he's definitely one of those players who I think has technical ability on the ball better than most of the players in the team. So I thought he deserved a mention. Gabriel at the back, I thought was immense, absolutely superb. And I have to say, Martin Odegaard is just getting better and better, man.
Mustard, isn't it?
Bruv, he's head and shoulders above everybody. Like
nucleus of our team, in my opinion.
Ridiculous, man. Like I'm looking at his play now, and I'm thinking, every time you're on the ball, you have all the time in the world on it. Like how? Like he leads from the press. He sets an example in that way. He don't stop running. He's tireless. His work rate is phenomenal. 1 minute to 90 minutes. Every time I see him, it's just like you're getting better and better now. Like you are actually getting better and better. So yeah, they're the players that shone out for me, bro.
I can't disagree, especially with Odegaard. Like I think he's the nucleus. I think if you was to ask me my favorite player in this Arsenal team, and you put a gun to my head, I'm probably going to say Bukayo Saka, Haaland, local lad, etc. But if everybody's fit, my most enjoyable players to watch, I would say Gabriel Jesus. But for me, it's Martin Odegaard. Like you said, the man's involved in all phases. He's wonderful on the ball. Nutmeg Granit Xhaka for no reason, if I'm honest, in that game. The man's just absolutely amazing. And to go echo your point about Trossard, I think many Arsenal fans or football fans, we say we need a squad, we need a squad, we need a squad. Then we get a squad and players that aren't in, they're seen as damaged goods. I've even seen some fans say sell Trossard. Now, everybody's got a price tag, but we've got a lot that we need to fix up before we could do that. And I like Trossard because he's a bit different from what we've got. With the exception of Gabriel Jesus, you know what you're getting. He can play across the front three. You know he's a good link-up player. Actually, and that's probably why we need a striker. I actually think he's the best finisher at the club. Like, if I had to put my life on someone to score 1v1, I'm probably going to bet on Trossard. So I don't think there's anything you can say there. I would just say there's good competition. I think the only reason I'm a bit nervous about that left-hand side is because, I know Zinchenko's been here for a minute, and Declan Rice will probably play over there. But at the same time, Merino, we'll get onto him. We ain't signed him yet. Calafiori, we haven't seen him kick a ball yet. We might on Sunday. Timber, I don't know what's going on in that regards. So it's like, how long for you do you really see this left-hand side kicking in and us looking like the team want to be down that side, bro?
It's going to be a while, bruv, because Calafiori and Timber aren't quite ready yet. They're apparently ready at the weekend, so we should be able to see.
They need to be, man.
Yeah, should be able to see them in action, which would be good. I think this Merino signing is just mad. I mean, why it's taking this long is absolutely crazy. Again, you know what we're like. We sit there, we dilly-dally, we try and muck around. But actually, with this one, it sounds like Real Sociedad have got this €5 million that they owe Merino, and they're asking Arsenal to pay that on top. So that's why it's taken a long time. So they're talking about 20 million now turning into closer to 30 million euros, and that's why there's negotiation prices. That's what the rumours are suggesting. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I'm no ITK. But this one seems to be taking too long, bro. I think he'll get done. I think the player has basically said, I want Arsenal. A lot of players, people are saying that, because Zubimendi looks like he's going to Liverpool, it's not going to happen now. And Real Madrid and Barcelona, are still looking at him. I think it's rubbish. I think he'll come to Arsenal. I think, unfortunately, it's going to take a little bit of time. But when Calafiori and Merino actually do get into the mix, I think you've got to look at the first 5-6 games. Unfortunately, the first 5-6 games are probably 6 of the most important, if I'm honest with you.
I mean, we got City, Spurs, and a couple of tough games, so you're not lying there, bro. At all.
It's crazy. So I think the first 5-6 games are massive. Arsenal need to hit the ground running. And if we're still mucking around with signings, trying to bring players in the door, trying to get our left-hand side gelled, it ain't going to be a good start, bro. So that's why I think we need Calafiori, Timber, Merino all in the door already and all starting games from the off. And that's going to be very, very hard. Now, maybe we won't get that for Wolves, but maybe we try after the Aston Villa game. We go into that run of games with Spurs and City. Maybe we get them ready for that. I'd like to think we can do that. But at the moment, the clock is ticking, bro. We've got, 9 days until the season starts, bro. It's not long. And we still need a striker and a winger.
I think you're back on the money, man. And we've been saying for months, oh, yeah, we can't wait till football's back. And, there's going to be many ups and downs. And I agree with you. Obviously, I reserve the right to criticize the club day in, day out. But I will say in the club's defense, until the market is closed, I will give you that luxury. Just make things happen. With Merino, again, it does feel like it's one of those deals that easy to get done. Some reports say, you know what, Mikel Arteta has been able to, entice him and show him about what we want to do. He's got a year left on his deal. He's 28. This is a sweet gig for him potentially. And I don't know, like you said, there's a lot of rumors and moving parts. Maybe I'm doing too much, but I'm starting to now think, because it seems like it's a very much a done deal, and that's dangerous. Is it a thing where we've dotted I's, we've crossed T's, we know kind of what Sociedad kind of want or don't want, we know what he's saying, and then we're like parking that off, and I don't know what players, but maybe potentially exploring other options in the market. I'm not sure though, man. Where would you be with that?
Yeah, exploring other options in the market is something I think Arsenal always potentially doing, because I just don't know that Arsenal have always got one target. And I know that we try and work one deal at a time. So Calafiori, then we moved on to Smith Rowe. Now we're moving on to Mikel Merino. We've still got Eddie and Reece Nelson that need to leave the club. And people that believe that we're not going to go and replace them, well, we're weaker then. Because if we're going to sell Smith Rowe and use him for Nwaneri,
we're losing bodies.
We're just the same. We've lost bodies. Even Nwaneri is going to come in, and by the way, he was quality last night. Him and Lewis Skelly, I thought, were quality.
Big them up, big performances.
Definitely got a future at this club, particularly Nwaneri. So I think he'll be fine to come in for Smith Rowe, although he probably used Fabi Vieira, who I thought was shocking again last night. I don't get what this guy does really at all.
I must admit, he needs to do something next season, man. Like, I like Fabio, but it's next season you have to show me something, man. You need to take a leaf out of Trossard's book, whether he's starting or coming off the bench, he's impacting. I don't really like Fabio Vieira on the right-hand side, but if Mikel Arteta keeps playing you there, he's got to have seen something. So show me something, man. But I cut you, man. I think you're bang on the money with Fabio there, man.
No, facts. I'm agreeing with everything you're saying. I don't see him as a right winger, and if I'm honest with you, I just don't see it's going to work out for him. But sadly, I could be wrong. Could be wrong, man. But listen, we've got Ethan Nwaneri and Fabio Vieira that are going to cover for Smith Rowe. On the right-hand side, if Nelson goes, we've got to get a winger. And up top, if we lose Eddie Nketiah, we have to replace him with a top striker. And that is it. After Merino, I expect them two players to come in. I don't care who it is. It needs to be someone Arteta and Edu believe they want and like and can work with. But for me, there's a lot of names out there. You can talk about Neto, you can talk about Sane, Eze, throw any white wingers at me you want. Obviously, Yilmaz and Bakayoko being linked. I'm not too sure about them two, but the others, fair play. Up top, it's going to be Victor Gyökeres or Victor Osimhen. And it depends what Victor you want, but basically. Because for me, I'm looking at those two positions and I still think it's vital. And the reason I think it's vital isn't because we're just beaten by Leverkusen 4-1. Everything's calm. We don't need nothing now. Just go. Let's get the season cracking on. We've done that before in pre-season, right? We've done that before. We've not won Premier Leagues, right? So for me, we need to go and get those two positions covered. And the reason I still feel we need them is because, one, you're getting rid of two players, and two, I kind of feel like we needed them on top of these players anyway. So that's where I'm at, bro.
And that leads me to ask you, a bit of a twofold question. Like, obviously, we know the club are working in the market and things, but considering what we've done now, and if we assume that no deal gets done by the time we play Wolves, are you more confident in our title race? Do you think we're stronger?
I think that the left-hand side is stronger. Is that enough to win the league? I don't know. Personally, without a winger and a striker, I don't think Arsenal are going to win the league. But the left-hand side is definitely stronger. So we might not concede as many down that left-hand side for the Zinchenko and Kiviors that have been playing of last season. With Calafiori, Timber, and Merino coming in, I think we've got an opportunity to toughen up that left-hand side and try and allow some sustainability on that left-hand side as well. But up top, mate, I don't think we can rely on Havertz and Jesus to win us a title. And I don't think that Saka can play 40 games. So not again. You know, he can play 40 games, but I don't want him to play 40 games because he'll just burn out. So for me, bro, I think we need a striker and a winger. And I think we need both as well. Because a lot of people say we only need one. If we only get one, it's a striker because Jesus can play and cover Saka. If we only get a winger, who's the striker option after Havertz, Jesus? Does Trossard have to come back in? Does Martinelli get his chance there?
Do you keep Eddie Nketiah because he could be a body, especially with Jesus' injuries?
Crazy.
Which is just, it's like a merry-go-round, and that's where me and you have. But we're probably, as I said, we're probably broken records because me and you mentioned this on yours and my platform all the time. For me, plan A, you get that striker, you get that winger, whoever that is. If you can only get one, then it's not ideal, but I can kind of maneuver a bit. That's probably where I slightly differ from you mainly because of Kai Havertz. If you can get me a bad boy winger, like probably not a Mane or Salah, but someone of that ilk, someone that's putting up Saka numbers, I think we could get away with it. Because I just don't see us getting the Isaks, the Osimhens, the top-level strikers. Fair enough if we've scouted a guy and we have concerns about him. He signs for Arsenal and he's amazing. I don't really care, really. We're laughing there. But it's like it don't seem like the club are too convinced on striker options. It seemed like there was a willingness to get Sesko. But how far does that go? Because the club has to have been briefed that he had no intention of leaving. This is dead, activating his release clause. He wants to sign a new deal. I believe wholeheartedly we need a striker. And again, somebody asked me to ask you this, and I always fight with this. Like, do you think Mikel Arteta wants a pure striker? As we know, long gone are probably the days of them kind of forwards. But if goal scoring was necessarily the most important facet of playing as a striker, you could argue Kai Havertz, Eddie Nketiah, and Gabriel Jesus, none of them would lead the line or have led the line for Arsenal. So where would you be with that?
Well, to answer your question very briefly, the answer is no, he does not want a striker like that. And he's made that very clear in 5 years that he's been an Arsenal manager, bro. He's not bought one. He's bought Jesus, who's not a number 9. He's bought Havertz, who's not a number 9. He's bought Willian and Trossard, who are wingers, not number 9s.
You even played Smith Rowe as a false 9 once against Villarreal, I'm sure, in the semi-final Europa League years ago.
You know, and even Smith Rowe and Martinelli that have played in these false 9 positions, they weren't his signings. So he has only bought 4 attack-minded players in 4 years, and 2 of them are wingers. So, yeah, and one of them was a midfielder, he said.
Why do you think that is as well, man? Because you just said something good. Like, why do you think that is as well, man?
I honestly believe he feels that he can win the league with a number 9 because he doesn't want that focal point striker. That's what I think it is. I don't think he wants that focal point striker. I don't think he wants that Haaland, that Harry Kane, that Lewandowski type. That it's like when you put on live score, it's like Tottenham has scored. That's Harry Kane.
Yeah. You know you're getting FPL points.
He wants goals by committee. That's what he wants. Goals by committee.
That's honestly a great way of putting it.
And I don't feel personally like he wants that number 9. Otherwise, I think he would have bought him by now, DG. Like, we have not replaced Aubameyang in terms of his goals. I know he had to go. Fair play. I know Lacazette had to go. Eddie now has to go. But who's going to replace these guys? If we're not going to get a replacement for Eddie, then we're weaker. If we're not going to get a replacement for Reece Nelson, then we're weaker. And I don't even rate these 2 lads, by the way. I think they're all right, but I don't think they're brilliant.
They're levels,
but we need to replace them. We can't just have nobody there. And if you're going to get rid of Smith Rowe, Reece Nelson, and Eddie Nketiah and bring in Ethan Nwaneri, and that's it. Like, come on, man. Like, it's crazy. Surely we're getting a winger or a striker, man, or both. Surely.
I'm with you. It's like, obviously, this is where I'm sure you'd agree. We'd love to have Edu and Mikel Arteta's phone number and be reassured that we're doing stuff. But I can only deal with what's in front of us. And I agree with your point. Just obviously, like you said, you know, when we look at it, Nelson and Eddie, they're not particularly rated. Smith Rowe was a passenger for the majority of the last 2 seasons. But in terms of bodies, obviously, the first thing you want to do is upgrade. Not that it's hard to upgrade on them, with the greatest of respect. And second of all, we're losing bodies. Mikel Arteta came out in February, March, said we've got one of the smallest squads. We're letting a lot of people leave. And obviously, there's more games next season. We want to go as far as we can in all the comps. I think with the new Champions League format, I might be wrong, but there's 2 extra Champions Leagues. And as much as I want to see, you know, the young Ethan and Miles get little minutes, make their debuts and things, if we're fighting for titles, in theory, there isn't going to be too much opportunities. Fair enough, when we're battering teams up and down the country, there's minutes there. So we need to hit the ground running. And that's where I'm concerned, because I'm with you in that. When I look at Gabriel Jesus and Kai Havertz, they've both won major things, Champions League and a couple of Prems between them. Well, more so Jesus. But I don't think that's enough. And I think when you look at Jesus, if he keeps up this form, we're laughing. He's versatile. He's all of that. But we know he's going to get injured. Kai Havertz, I do think he'll continue to score goals. I'm with you in that. I prefer him up front. But it's a sense of, if I break it down, you did it for half a year. Not to downplay anything you did it for half a year. There's 38 games. This goes back to what we're saying on your platform. For me, there's too many unanswered questions purely when we're looking at fighting for a title. In terms of the project and being competitive and improving and the margins and all of that kind of jazz, I'm all for that. And I think we're doing good in that regards, because it even goes back to midfield. The one position beyond the obvious, I don't think we can go into next season still saying these same things about midfield. I take nothing away from Jorginho and Partey, but personally, bro, I think it's a dangerous game having just those two as your options, because then you're looking at moving Odegaard, then you're looking at Fabio Vieira, then you're looking at Kai Havertz in midfield, and especially if Kai Havertz is scoring all the goals up front, then you have to shift the dynamics. Like, obviously, we go long with Jesus, but Kai Havertz is a lot taller. He allows us to, with Raya, he allows us to go long and whatnot. So I think we're kind of struggling. And it goes back to the Merino thing. Like, I like Merino. I think and I'd like to know your thoughts. For me, I think he would start. I think the first choice three would be Odegaard, Rice, and Partey. I think Moreno would over time become first choice purely because last season, for example, he played over 40 times. That's almost unheard of for Thomas Partey. So it's like, where are you at with Moreno signing as well? Like, where do you kind of see him in the hierarchy as well, midfield?
Yeah, I think I'm with you. It will be Partey, Rice, and Odegaard, and then they will mould Merino in. And you might even see similarly with Calafiori. I don't know if he's going to jump in the deep end as well. Like you say, you might see Zinchenko start there, or maybe if Timber is fit, he might start there. So I feel like it's going to be a moulding in exercise, not just, right, here's our 11, bang, here it goes. I think Merino is going to be the number 8. I think Rice is going to be the number 6. And I think Odegaard will remain in that position. And I think that will be the trio. Now, Thomas Partey and Jorginho, they're not going to be the same this season in terms of them being available for 30 games. Partey can't even stay available for 10, 15, let alone 30, right?
And it seems like during pre-season, we're kind of scared with his fitness as well, if I'm honest.
Of course, absolutely. Every time he kicks a ball, I'm scared that he's going to go down. Do you know what I'm saying? So him and Jorginho, I think, will be wrapped in cotton wool this season and probably used for about 15 games. I think when you look at what that means for Merino and Rice, it means they've got to have good seasons. And I honestly believe that Merino can be that number 8 and then Rice can be that number 6. And people don't like the fact that Rice might have to drop into the 6 again. But let's not forget, he got 9 man of the match performances playing in that 6th position across.
That's his bread and butter, really.
Bro, he's been playing it since he was a kid. He knows it so well. And he's
one of the best England off the back of that.
You know what I'm saying? Why would you want to say there's only Rodri better? Let's move him. Do you know what I'm saying? So people that are getting annoyed about it because he's not in the 8. Look, I like him in the 8. I think he's great in both. But he was phenomenal in the 6, like ridiculously good in the 6. So I personally believe that him in the 6 would be absolutely fine. And Merino, I think we'll see why Arteta's bought him. I don't think we've replaced Xhaka. I know yesterday it wasn't the best return for him in terms of the result that he got, but he's clearly missed because on that position, I thought he absolutely nailed it in that system. And I think Merino has to be that guy now. Left-footed, of course, physical attributes, a little bit taller, I think, than Granit Xhaka and probably similar in terms of his stature because Granit Xhaka weren't a small kid. I think Merino could give us a lot more airily as well. And when he does drive forward, he looks a good player, bruv. So, yeah, I'm kind of cool with it, man.
Yeah, I'm cool with it as well because I don't think it's a ceiling raiser, but it raises the floor in a bit like how, you know, if Trossard's out the side, you've got a great player off the bench. Obviously, if Martinelli's out the side, you've got a good player. I think we kind of need to do things like that. And I think you're bang on the money with Declan Rice. I think Declan Rice's bread and butter is number 6. He's a European champion, European Conference League winner and all of those kind of things. And I think people get too hung up on 8s and 6s. Just because you're an 8 in the team don't mean when you're playing for Arsenal under Arteta, you won't have to do the duties that a 6 does and vice versa. And obviously you look at Rodri. Declan Rice is not Rodri, but Rodri is contributing in all phases of play. Sure, he's intercepting and he's doing all of that stuff, but typically City are on the front foot. It's not like, respectfully, Ipswich Town, like they're going to be on the back foot in a lot of their games and have to do more of that traditional kind of stuff. And I'd be interested to see exactly what we do with Moreno and Declan Rice in that regards. I do like Rice as an 8. I'm kind of cool with it because Declan Rice, for me, he's just one of those players, a bit like Saka and Odegaard. You don't have to worry about it. Just go out and do what you need to do. And it takes Saliba as well and just take care of business, really. I saw a question, yeah. I think that's bang on the money, this comment about a good striker will steal you games. The December period will show that. But I think this raises a good question. Now, we've seen nothing in pre-season to suggest at this moment in time we're going to see a back 5 or a back 3. But we know Arteta likes to tinker. Calafiori in the John Stones role, and will he drop back into a back 5? Where are you at with that? I'm sure you've seen the comments about Calafiori said John Stones is a bit of a reference point for him. Is that something we could see?
Yeah, Calafiori making reference to John Stones is interesting because on the ball, I think he means he's as good as him in terms of how comfortable he is. He looks like it going forward, like in terms of his ability offensively as well and some of his passing going forward. I think he's going to be an excellent signing. Like from what I see, what I hear, it all looks good. at the moment believe he's going to be anything but good for us, bruv. So I'm really looking forward to it. I also believe that with Calafiori playing there, it will actually allow Ben White to do his thing as well. And I think that Ben White has been overlooked. I think he's been underrated. I think he's been consistent. You forget he played 38 games last season. He was a player
on one leg, really, half the time.
Exactly. Yeah, and people said he was injured. So he's durable, he's good, he knows what he's doing offensively and defensively. And when he plays in the inverting, you can allow for Calafiori to do his thing, and then Calafiori inverting can allow Ben White to do his thing. So I think it complements both of our fullbacks now, this signing, which is mad to think that a left back can actually complement the right back, but actually it will. So I think that Gabriel as well will have someone who he actually can partner.
He's not babysitting anymore, respectfully.
He's not babysitting, bro. About being horrible to Zinchenko, he had to a lot, and he did a good job of it. But him and Saliba together, you could even tell yesterday. I think they scored when Saliba come off. So for me, that partnership is absolutely lethal. And I was speaking to a Sam who actually believes we can actually get close to this Chelsea record. I'm going to show on it on my channel about it to say, like, I don't think we're going to break the record, man.
Do you really think we could do that in today's day and age?
I don't think we can. But
I don't think so either, man. I think because the game's changed.
I think the target should be to get close. And that's what I said. I said it on the terrace and I said it on my channel. That should be the target for this defense. It should be, okay, we might not beat it, but let's see if we can concede 20, not 15. Let's see if we can get to 18. Let's see if 17. Let's get close to it. That should be the target. It shouldn't be, you know, just we're a defense. Long as the strikers score, we're all good. We'll just chill back here. Like, nah, man, you've got a department to be fair, as we spent a lot of money on our department of defense now. You know, we spent a lot of money.
Even the ones that aren't here anymore.
Yeah, man, 100%. I think we spent about 200 million, haven't we? Something like that. So
ridiculous.
We have to now look at it and say, yeah, this cost us 200 million pounds. Let's show everyone why it's worth 200 million pounds. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's a weird one because you know the saying that they say defense wins titles and strikers win games or whatever it is. Yeah, I think we have a title winning defense, and I extend that to the whole team. I don't really know how to judge Mikel Arteta because I wouldn't describe him as negative or pragmatic, but he does strike me as a chess player, defense first. You know, my first defender is my striker. My first attacker is Raya. But it seems like we've got great options. Then you look at our striker situation. As we both know, we've got good players, but nobody's necessarily a goal scorer. How do you feel about this question? DG, I think Arsenal can win the league without a striker, but not without an all-round midfielder. Me, I don't think. I actually feel if you really improve that midfield, I think we can get away with it. I don't think we could do it the other way around, but where are you at?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think both areas are priority. If you can only give me one, I'm buying an 8, 100%. I'm buying a midfielder because for me, we can score goals. Can we score enough goals to win the league? Well, yeah. I mean, stats suggest that we can, but what we need to do is we need to allow that midfield to freshen up because Jorginho and Partey, they ain't getting any younger. Rice can't do it all on his own.
Rice can't do it all on his own. Facts.
Yeah, so Merino has to come in. And I said at the start we needed 2. And I don't think we're going to get 2. But I believed Partey was going. So if Partey's going to stay, and we've got Partey, Jorginho, and Rice in the 6, Partey and Jorginho in the 6, Declan Rice and Merino in the 8, we're kind of okay there with Ødegaard playing there. And I think Ethan can probably do a job there as well, you know, like against the teams that perhaps we have Ipswich, Southampton, Leicester at the Emirates. I think we've got an opportunity to actually allow for Ethan to actually play in that kind of 8. Now, it might not work because we'd have Ødegaard and Ethan. Obviously, both of them are very attack-minded. But I do believe there's an opportunity for us to look at that. So, I don't know, man. I feel like there's an opportunity for us to actually look at that. I wanted Eze because he covers the wide areas and the number 10. But I do feel personally like there's... I don't know. There's too much silence on that Eze move for me to him to come to Arsenal. So I'm not sure I can see that one happening, bro. Oh, you've gone. You've left me. It's just me live on your channel. Fair play. Let's answer this one, man. Johnny Boy M says Eddie is definitely not all right. Come on.
Well, sorry, folks. I don't know what happened to my internet there, man.
Sorry, man. I was just literally reading this super chat out. Not super chat, this comment out while you'd left me. But yeah, you're back now, yeah?
Big up you, man. Great saving, man. Daniel Declan Rice, mate. Like, I don't know what happened there. I was panicking. But I wanted to what did I want to ask you as well, man? I wanted to ask you something. Yeah, Zubimendi. Now, obviously, Martin Zubimendi was a man that was linked with Arsenal. We all spoke about him for one reason or another. Hasn't happened. Why do you think that's the case then? If because what we heard with Zubimendi for all the Bayern and Barca and all these links, he don't want to leave. And obviously Liverpool haven't signed him yet, but David Ornstein said there's a willingness for him to go to Liverpool. What does that tell you about Arsenal? Was our interest potentially overstated? Should we go back in for him? And do you believe that could affect the Merino thing?
So a lot of people have said they believe it will affect the Merino thing. I don't think it will, because I think Merino wants to come to Arsenal, right? So I don't think there's a problem there. I think that deal will happen. It's just about negotiation. So I don't think it'll affect that. Real Sociedad looking like they're going to sell both now. If Liverpool come in with the release clause, then fair play. I think they'll get him. It's about 53 million, I think, in total. What is mad is I was having this conversation the other day about why Arsenal don't want Zubimendi. I guess it's because they've got Rice, Jorginho and Partey that are all staying at the club now. They don't really need another 6, because that is all he is. He's not an 8. Zubimendi is just a 6. So that's probably why we don't need him now. But I was speaking to somebody yesterday or the day before who was saying, I think Zubimendi will stay. He wants to stay in Spain. I think he wants to go Real Madrid and follow the footsteps of Xabi Alonso, right? So I thought, he'll probably end up going Liverpool then. Joking. And look where he is.
You spoke it into existence, man.
Liverpool, and that's exactly the move that Xabi Alonso had, was Real Sociedad to Liverpool. So it's crazy. It really is, because there's an opportunity there for him to follow the footsteps of Xabi Alonso. But listen, if he's brilliant at Liverpool, then maybe Real Madrid will sniff around him. But I think it's a very good signing for Liverpool, mate. I really do. I think this one is a very good signing for Liverpool. It's a position they've needed for about 3 seasons, in my opinion, now. And they've always had a good holding midfielder, Liverpool, over the years. If you look back now,
they've lacked one now, yeah.
Xabi Alonso, to the likes of Mascherano, to the likes of Fabinho, and now they're struggling. So Endo come in, don't get me wrong, Montero Endo did a very good job last season, but he is not the guy, and Zubimendi looks like he will be. So that'll be a very good signing for Liverpool.
As silly as it sounds, do you think we need to sell before we can buy? I only ask you this because we've vaguely spoken about it. You know, Nelson 1 minute is West Ham and Leicester. Leicester, it seems like they ain't got the budget. West Ham bought Somerville. Eddie and Nketiah, it seems like we've rejected 3 bids from Marseille, and apparently they're looking at Wahi, so I'm not sure with that. Kivior played yesterday. He seemed to be one that could go out the door, and seems like there's been radio silence with his league. So where are you at with these lots' futures? And like, do you think we need to let these guys go before we could talk about either a striker or a winger? Because surely them 2 positions in particular, bro, are going to cost a significant amount of money.
I don't think we'll see any incomings until Reece Nelson and Eddie Nketiah leave, bro. And it might be that Ramsdale and Kivior... Yeah, same. It might be that Ramsdale and Kivior have to leave as well.
Even him.
They're talking about Ramsdale wanting a future elsewhere. They're talking about Kivior wanting first-team football in Serie A. So it might be that those 4 go. I don't know what's happening with Kieran Tierney. There's reports today that Real Sociedad are still looking at him, and Celtic also. Yeah, Celtic are looking at him as well. So he's injured at the moment, though, so I don't know how that deal would happen. Maybe they have to agree something for January. I don't know. But for me, it's looking like there's more outgoing rumours than there are incomings. And I honestly believe we'll get potentially 1 more player after Merino. Calafiori, Merino, and potentially 1 more, and I think it will probably be a winger, not a striker.
I was just about to ask you that, whether it be a winger or a striker. We're still linked with Osimhen again. Do you think there's willingness to get that done?
I'd love to say yes, because I like him. I actually do prefer Victor Gyökeres out of the 2, but I think Osimhen would still be a great signing. He's better than Eddie Nketiah, bruv. Let's just say that. You know what I'm saying?
Floor,
so we have to upgrade on that position. He's actually better than Havertz and Jesus as a 9 as well, in my opinion. So I think we have to go and get it done if we can. I don't really care which one it is, if I'm honest. My preference would be Gyökeres. But Osimhen is that guy that's that killer in the box. You know, he scored an unbelievable amount of goals for Napoli, didn't he, in the last couple of years? So we've got to look at that. Gyökeres is on fire, absolute fire. In sporting
stunning statistics.
Ridiculous stats, man. Like 58 GA in 50 games is nuts over all competitions. Like that is just madness, absolutely madness. So for me, he'd be one as well. But I don't know what winger. I really don't know what winger.
This is it. I would have loved Nico Williams. Forget about that. Neto, I'm not sure because of the injuries and whatnot. I don't know if they're keen to do that. Beyond that, I mean, you mentioned Bakayoko earlier. I like him in theory. He's young. He's impressionable. Arteta can do a thing. But guys that I could see us signing and hitting the ground running, I'm scratching my head, bro. I don't know about you. I'm looking for suggestions. I really don't have a clue, personally. Yeah. Kudus would have been lovely, but myth.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real. I wanted Nico Williams. That's not going to happen, right? So where do we go after that one? Well, there's Leroy Sané, who could be available from Bayern Munich. Some people are saying, no, he's dead, he's finished. Well, you look at his stats, it doesn't suggest he's finished at all.
Definitely not. And we saw last year at the Emirates.
He destroyed us at the Emirates, right? So that's one option. The other option is Pedro Neto, but people straight away say he's injured all the time. But the one that I would like is Eze. And I know he's not an out-and-out winger, but he's someone that's so versatile that can come in for Ødegaard, for Saka, can play on the left 8 if Merino wasn't about. Personally, that would be the one that I would go for 60 million, I think it is. That for me would be a great signing. And then up top, Victor Gyökeres, who I think will probably be around about 75, 80 million, if I'm honest, like a Darwin Núñez type striker. Now, hopefully he's better than him and doesn't flop when he comes to the Premier League, because obviously Darwin Núñez has. But when you look at his stats, bro, and his stature, he looks so much better than Darwin Núñez. He's a better ball carrier than Darwin Núñez. He looks like he's got more of an eye for goal than Darwin Núñez. He's definitely a better finisher one-on-one than Darwin Núñez. So for me, when people say, oh, he's going to flop like Núñez, well, they're not the same player. So how do you know that? You know, you've got to allow him to see him in an Arsenal shirt before that happens. Whether we're going to see him in an Arsenal shirt or not is a massive question mark, because I honestly believe that we might not get a forward and we might just get a winger. And I listened to the press conference in Arteta, and a lot of people texted me today saying it doesn't look like Arteta wants a forward. I don't know what he said. I've no idea, but it sounded like it wasn't really on the agenda. But we'll see, man. We'll see.
I've accepted no striker comes in, man. I would love to be proven wrong. I'd love to wake up and we've got Isaac or Gyökeres or Osimhen and even Ivan Toney. I know that's probably definitely unlikely. We're more likely to have a bid rejected for Isaac than to actually be in talks to bring Toney. But I just feel another striker will take us to another level. It turns some defeats into draws, some draws into victory, as I always say. And had we have got anything from 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 points last season, we're laughing, but we can't really deal with that. Somebody was saying this to me yesterday on one of my videos, and it got me thinking. Now, obviously, you look at our team, we can get better at selling, we can do a lot of stuff. But do you think the Cronkies are sitting there and saying, you know what, Arteta and Edu, mainly Arteta, I like what you're doing your thing, but we are spending a lot of money and not really getting much bang for our buck, and there is quite a bit of turnover. Do you think the Cronkies are sitting there and saying, we've given you some money, but for significant incoming, we need to get some outgoings? Could that be a reason for, you know, us not talking about a central midfielder or a winger or a striker at the club already?
No, I don't think so, because I think the Cronkies believe and trust everything that Edu and Arteta are doing. I don't see there being any pressure whatsoever. And I'll go as far as saying, if we don't win a trophy this season, I don't expect Arteta to be sacked by the Cronkies. I expect the Cronkies to back him again and give him more money. They want to be making sure that this Arsenal to them is an Arteta and Arsenal to them is Sean McVay and the Rams. That's what he sees at. And then keep going until you win it. And that for him, it's keep going until you win a Champions League or a Premier League. That's what I think the Cronkies are looking at. And I think that he's going to be able to stay in the next few years quite comfortably. Now, there'll be a certain section of the fan base that will be questioning that, 100%. They will 100% be looking at that thinking, do you know what? Arsenal, we're so close, just a bit more. But when does it become a time where actually enough's enough? That's the
when you get over that line.
Yeah, when you can't quite get across the line for the third, fourth, fifth, sixth time, does it take 3, 4, 5, 6? Do you give him 7, 8, or 9? Or do you give him 10, 11, or 12? Or do you cut it and go, look, you just can't do it, mate. Let's get.
Are we too far to turn back now at this point as well?
Yeah, and that's what I think more of it is. I think we're in this now. We've backed him this much. We can't pull the plug now. We're challenging. I think that's their attitude. I honestly do. And fair play, because he's done a really good job to get us challenging. But I want to get across the line. I don't want to be challenging. We were challenging under George Graham, Arsene Wenger, and Unai Emery. I don't want to be challenging for under Mikel Arteta.
I want our name etched in history now, man.
Yeah, I want this to be the season where we look back and we go, do you know what? For all the pain, and it was painful, that we've had over the last 5 years, now we don't have to worry about it. It's here. No more process or phases. We're winning. And that's what matters, doing that at the end of the season. Don't care if it's with a League Cup, FA Cup, Premier League, Champions League.
Facts.
Give me any of that, man. I don't care. Just give me a trophy and give me a title race. And if we win it, great. If we come second and we win a trophy, we've had a successful season. Because you can't have a successful season coming second and winning nothing, because you've lost, and you've lost in all the other 3 competitions as well. So it can't be successful because you only finished 4 points behind Man City. I don't care about that. I don't care how many points I finished behind them. We never say
still second.
We got 5, we got 5th. We were only 3 points off of 4th place. No one does that crap, do they? So it doesn't matter. Yeah, no one cares about that rubbish. Just get us a trophy. Yeah, get us into a title race, and we're happy. Otherwise, it's going to be horrible conversations to take place in May.
I think you're bang on the money, man. And I think, you know, this is why I like speaking with people like you, because you need a lot of balance to look at these things. You know, you could either say we're failures because we didn't win anything. You could, you know, bury your head in la la land about the fact that we finished second, where the reality is it is a good project. There is progress. Fundamentally, 20 years from now, nobody is going to care about us finishing second. No one's going to remember that. These players are not going to tell their kids that. And all the fans that overdo it in that regards, it's made redundant by the fact Mikel Arteta, Odegaard, Edu, anybody, they say we're not happy with that. We've got to push. We all saw the last day of the season where people were happy to finish second. The manager came out and said it's not really good enough. We're not really happy. We all saw the interview before the American tour started. So we need to do things. So that sets me up for, you know, the last question for you then. Do you have faith in the project?
If I'm honest with you, brother, I've never had faith in the project because I would have rather have given a manager who's won stuff before £700 million and go and win a title by now. Personally, that's what I would have rather have done. But this project has now gone to a stage where we are here, we are challenging, and is what it is. Now, the idea was it took Klopp 4 years. Well, we've gone past that now, and we haven't won anything that Klopp's won. So what we need to do is get something across the line now. And I mean now, not in a couple of years' time. There's no more, this is a project. There's no more, this is a process. There's no more, we're only in phase 4. None of that crap. I don't want to hear any of that rubbish.
2.4 now or something like that. I saw the fans about the California vids talking about that.
Unbelievable. Without people are still believing we're in a phase of stuff like it's all PR crap, isn't it? Let's be real. We are here now to win titles. We're not here to try and get more dogs than call them win and trophy and Champions League, are we? Do you know what I mean? We're actually let's go and buy some trophies. Let's go and buy some dogs and call them trophy names. Let's actually just go and win some trophies.
Or the latest you would have seen today, man. Arteta hired pickpockets and whatnot in a team meeting. Geez. I love these ideas, but like, I just want to win trophies. I really am a big fan of all these things. Arteta's a madman. He's kind of fucked in his head. He's kind of a genius. I like him for that, but it's about getting it over the line now. And I agree with you with that. For me, with the project, obviously, naturally, we've come into this. We've not really had much faith. We're used to buzzwords and people just saying blind things, but it's actually been backed up. So in the end of the project and rebuilding the club, I'm for that. If I'm now looking at title winners, I'm seeing improvements, but I need to see a bit of ruthlessness. I need to see us forcing issues, whether that would be a striker, a winger, or a central midfielder. And I guess with the season kicking off next week, we're going to have to see, man. Dan, I know you're pressed for time, so I'm going to let you get out of here. Before you get out of here, let us know content to come, bro.
Oh, you broke up there, bro. Go again.
I said before you get out of here, let us know content to come from yourselves. Make sure you're following his platform, people.
Yeah, love, bro. First of all, make sure you like and subscribe on this one.
Come on.
And second of all, yeah, please do come follow myself over at Football's 12th Man. I've got Tom Canton on tonight and me at 5 p.m. We're going to talk all things Arsenal, all things transfers.
You got Tom as well.
Get what he knows because he's got a lot more in the know than I have about transfers. So we might find out a little bit more about who we're after and who we're looking to sell. And then I will be on this evening to talk through all of the transfer news that has come in today, rolling through Twitter, rolling through sources, Romano, Ornstein, and all the rest of it. So please make sure you come and give a sub and a like. I'd love a subscribe. Trying to get the 30K is the next one, man. Road to 30K.
Flirting with it, people. Come and support the movement, man. The guy's putting in work and it's live content as well. And if it's not live, you know, you see his videos coming out in the morning. He's putting in work, people. Don't be lazy. Look at the title. It's the 12th Man podcast. Hit that up. And, you know, he does a lot of good work with other content creators as well. Like he's got some madmen, like I can't remember his name, the Spurs fan. Like sometimes I watch you lot's videos. I'm like, this guy's off his rocker, bro. But he's like, it is what it is. But yeah, man, let's let Dan cut out of here. I'm sure you lot agree and disagree with a lot of what we said. So make sure you're commenting. On that note, though, people, I'm back at 4 p.m. I believe. Peace. Dan, one love, man.
Love, bro.
Come on.